In the back of that bus, we have the next step of our mobile home renovation. All right, we got our next section of butcher block countertop to finish the kitchen counters in our mobile home. So this one is a 6-foot acacia butcher block countertop, and we're going to be cutting it down because we have a little baby, like, what would it be called? Like appliance counter. It's just a little strip on the side of our kitchen, about 5 feet wide. So we're going to get this unwrapped, set up, and let's get it cut down to size. So we're taking you behind the shed so that we can get this cut and oiled back here. Since our cabinets are exactly 5 feet wide, 60 inches, I believe I'm going to give an inch overhang on each end. So I'll need a 62-inch countertop by 13 inches. It's a 12-inch cabinet, so we're going 13 inches. So an inch overhang all the way around. I think that'll be right. Let me decide what side.
I don't even have to do anything.
No, this one should be pretty easy. Just trying to breathe. Very dusty. I should have sent this through on the table saw. All right.
Where are we bringing that in there?
I guess I dread it because it's going to be subject to humidity and everything. We'll have to think about it. Let's put it in there for now, I guess. Like if I take it. Okay. Now we have to cut it to length. Let's knock this off. You can get rid of that.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh yeah, you dropped this. Is it still okay?
I dropped it.
Didn't you drop it?
You're the one that left it where it could be dropped.
There it is. So here's my cutoff now. That's a much better cutting board than that huge piece we did last time. I'll definitely hold on to this one. And, you know, what we're left with is what we need. So all I'm going to do is sand it down. I'm not going to show this on video, but we're going to sand the cut edges, make sure they're nice and smooth looking. And I'm going to give a slight round over with the sander, just soften up all the edges, because sharp edges, like if you have a dead square edge, it's going to show every little ding when you're working around the counter on the edge. But if you round it over, it's just softer and it's not going to look as bad. There's already a dent in it just from
Shipping.
Two dents in it, I can see, just from shipping, because those sharp corners dent easily. So soften the edges, sand the ends, sand the top and bottom, and when I come back, we'll be ready to oil it. Well guys, I'm ready to oil this countertop. I'm using pure tung oil cut with citrus solvent. So tung oil in itself is just a little too thick to absorb deeply into the wood, so you cut it. You thin it with citrus solvent or something similar to basically thin out the oil so that it'll penetrate deeper into the wood. So that's what I'm doing. This is a little more than 50-50 cut, so this is a very loose oil. It should soak in pretty far. I'll start with the bottom, and we're just going to give it a nice good coat of oil. Now oiling is not exactly like painting or even like staining. You're just laying it on. You're laying it on thick. And I'm going to explain this process because I never really show the full process in our videos. Like I show this, but I don't show the full thing. And some people were confused about how I go about this. So I lay it on pretty thick. And I'm sharing my system, my process, not the official instructions, because I know how you're supposed to do it. But I'm going to show you how I do it, because I'm less patient than other people. I want to get this done, and I don't want to spend days and days working on this countertop. And what I do now is I just let it sit for a few minutes, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it takes. I start letting it soak in. And anytime I see a dry spot, because you can see where it's absorbing, and if it's absorbing, I'll come back and I'll add more. And I just keep layering it until it pretty much doesn't want to soak anymore in. This is the bottom of the slab. I don't worry as much about the bottom, but we'll just get it nice and saturated. I can see it's getting dry right here. So we'll add some more. Some wood is more absorbent than other. We'll just keep spreading it around and letting it soak in. So I laid the oil on pretty thick, and now it's just going to sit. I did both sides. This is the top side. I'm going to let it soak for 20, 30, 40 minutes. We'll see, depending on how it's feeling out here. Sometimes when you're outside, the oil dries odd or too quick, especially if any UV light hits it. And you don't want to sit it on there too long because it'll start gumming up. But we'll just let that soak as much as it wants, and then that's it. Some people, they'll do a coat of oil, they'll wait 24 hours, they'll do another coat, and wait 24 hours, do another coat. But I find that if I just lay it on thick and just let the wood just drink it up, and I just let it soak that in and then buff it down, well, the next day, it doesn't really want to take much oil, if any at all, anyway, so I don't bother with it. So I just skip the days. I lay it on thick one time, and it works. The countertop in our house, for example, we could spill sauce on it or anything and leave it anytime. You know, you could leave it overnight and you could still wipe it up. It wouldn't leave a stain. It's waterproof, it's durable, it's long lasting. A lot of people, they have a misconception that butcher block countertops are high maintenance because they're told to oil the countertop with a butcher block oil, and that's like a mineral oil. It's mineral oil based. And then you have to do periodic re-oilings, like once a month you're re-oiling your countertop. The mistake is using mineral oil. This isn't a cutting board, it's a countertop. That's why I use tung oil, because tung oil is a drying oil. It gets into the wood, it hardens, and it protects the wood for a long time, if not forever. So I won't have to touch this for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. It'll be fine. And if I ever do feel the need, it's easy to just rub some oil on it and it's done. It's not high maintenance. There's no frequent oilings. The high maintenance myth comes from mineral oil. Mineral oil is not a drying oil, and it wears out over time. So you put mineral oil on there, you're using the counter, the wood gets dry, it gets dull, and it starts wearing out. Then you have to keep reapplying it. So if you do a drying oil, you eliminate that need. So I'm going to let that soak in. I'll buff it down, and then we'll be over to the mobile home to get it installed. We made it over to the mobile home. Our countertop has been oiled and it's sat actually for a couple days now, so we're ready to install it. But let's take a look at this one again. This is looking really nice in here, and now we can see it during the daytime a little more. We installed that at night. Now this is our little section of countertop that we're going to be working on right now. And this is a little different because if you guys remember when we did the other counter, they're regular base cabinets, so we had to use brackets to attach the counter to the cabinets. But these are wall cabinets, so they have a solid top. So what I'm going to do is drill holes in the tops, and we'll just screw right from this into the countertop. No brackets needed. Feels dusty down here. Let me see how I like that. Well, there it is, all screwed in. That is super solid. I have 2, 4, 6, 8. I have 8 screws evenly spaced across right through the top of the cabinets here. Just basic cabinet screws, just long enough to grab and do its job. And countertops are officially finished. Let's get a shot of the galley kitchen. I know it's a lot of wood. It probably would have looked nicer to use cabinets and countertops that weren't both wood tones, but we love butcher block countertops. And I really like this wood cabinet, so this is just what we went with. But we are gonna try to make it look a little more exciting in here with our backsplash. We're gonna be shopping for that soon. Add something, a little bit of flair to the room. So we're gonna take some measurements so that we know exactly how many square feet we need. We're gonna be doing it across here and this whole wall here under these cabinets. Now, I was really stumped on if I should do an overhang on the sides. Everybody's telling me it looks good, but it looks a little odd to me. You can see right here, I made an overhang about 1 inch off the sides here. And I don't know, it looks a little odd because the cabinet doors are almost flush, but then it sticks out this way. But I don't know if flush would have looked right either. Maybe I'm just not used to it. I'm not sure if I did the right thing there. And I think that's all there is to say about that. It is what it is. It's coming together. It looks good, and I'm happy with it. Countertops are done. We're gonna wait for those to cure. The oil takes about 30 days to cure. You could be using these countertops in a week. It's not gonna hurt anything. But I'm going to wait 30 days before I put the sink in, just so I know the silicone is hopefully going to adhere properly to the wood. And in the meantime, we'll shop for the backsplash. And I don't know if we can do that or not, but if we might end up doing some backsplash soon. While we're here though, let's call Evie in and do a little mini Q&A because we got a couple questions that came up. We have a few things I want to talk about, and I needed a short person like you.
Okay.
Because some people were wondering why we installed our cabinets so high, higher than standard. Let me just show you what they're at. Over here, we're at almost 22 inches. And over here, we're at 28 inches. The standard is 18 inches.
So they're all higher than normal.
Higher than standard, and they say, wow, you can't reach anything. What's the point of that? There's a couple of reasons why we did this, but you're a pretty short person, below average.
I am 5'2" 3/4.
Okay, let's just see how you can reach. Is it possible?
This is how high I can go.
Okay.
I can almost touch the ceiling actually.
Okay.
So
if there was something in that cabinet, you could reach it.
yeah, unless it's like way back, but.
And something right here, definitely.
Yeah.
And then the same with these. These are the same. They're both installed exactly the same distance from the ceiling. These are just smaller cabinets. So
yeah, I can reach everything in there.
it's not like super convenient. It's not just right there, but she can reach it without a stool. So that answers that first question because some people did think that you wouldn't be able to reach.
Mm-hmm. Our ceilings are 7 feet tall, which is way lower than normal.
Right. And now here's the reason we're doing this. There's a couple things going on here. First of all, this isn't being built as a chef's kitchen. This is built more to the standard of a camp kitchen. Really, this whole house is being treated as a camp. It's
small home for like a single person or a couple.
It's going to be totally, fully functional, good working kitchen. It's just not going to be a luxury kitchen. It's not made for like a lot of big meals, right? So we're going to be installing a small range. For example, you might not have noticed, but we only have a 24-inch slot right here, 24-inch range. Nothing's even full sized, okay? So it's not like one of those kitchens. The reason we installed them high on this side is because right here, there is going to be a range. So there's the stovetop, and you can't have a cabinet too close to the stove. There's just a certain height restriction. right here at 28 inches, you know, you're pushing that boundary, and that's the range hood right there built into our cabinet. You might not have seen that install video, maybe you have, but this cabinet is essentially just a range hood. So you're not really going to be storing anything up there aside from
odd stuff.
You know, there is some room over here, you know, I don't know, light bulbs and junk, not food or anything. And I also will have a power supply in there to run my under cabinet lighting that'll be over here. So, you know, this cabinet's useless. Let's just forget about that one. And then over here on this end, we have the kitchen sink. And again, you don't want a cabinet that's 18 inches because it's going to be like right in your face, blocking what you're doing. We wanted to raise it up. And so that's why we have it high here. And then the only spot we have left essentially is right in this little zone right here. And we're not going to have a cabinet sticking down for no reason.
Yeah, we're not a big fan of like when cabinets go down and then up again and then down. We like the straight line look.
And this modern, like straight feel, this is what I wanted. I really wanted to try this out where the range hood is invisible and it's just a clean run of cabinets across your kitchen. And when it's all done, I think it's going to look really sharp. So this is kind of like just part of the design. So we're compromising, yeah, a little bit of convenience, a little storage space. We could have a cabinet that drops down. But when you got high cabinets on both sides, there's no point in worrying about that middle one.
Might as well just keep them all flush.
Yeah. So that explains that side of why we had them high. And honestly, it makes the space more open and light. It's going to be really nice. And that's important because, let me talk, before we finish about the cabinet height, let me talk about not having a window above our sink.
Mm-hmm.
Because
that's a hot topic.
That comes up all the time. Some people think it is the biggest crime ever to not have a window over your sink. And, you know, we get it. Everybody has their likes and dislikes. But I would challenge that when you're washing dishes by hand, probably most people aren't looking out the window like they think. You know what I mean? Because when we wash dishes, we're just looking at the dishes. We look down, we get them done. It's like 5 or 10 minutes and you're done, right? I didn't put a window here because it would be complicated. I wanted the cabinets, and this mobile home is built in a way that putting a window here would have been difficult and would have been prone to leaking. And if it ever did leak, we're going to have a leak in the drywall behind the cabinets. It's not a good spot for a leak.
Yeah.
And we decided that it was safer and easier to not try to squeeze a window in here. But we're going to have plenty of lighting. We're going to have under cabinet lighting, and it's wide open, and you can just do your dishes and move on. At home, our kitchen sink is against a solid wall just like this. And it is perfect for us, and we have never once been bothered by it.
Mm-hmm.
We have a window that's over our workspace, and I love that because the light comes in. And when you're doing things like cooking and prepping food stuff at the counter, where you have more time, you can look out the window.
Yeah.
But dishes, who cares? Wash the dishes, move on with your life.
Yeah, it's over with in like 5 or 10 minutes.
I think that windows over a sink are just overrated. And
we don't care for them.
This is going to be perfect for this. You can't go like I don't know. There's no point looking out a window while you're washing dishes.
Another thing that people bring up is, why aren't you doing a dishwasher?
Mm-hmm.
We've never used dishwashers. We didn't grow up using them. Our parents didn't have them. We've never had one in any of our homes. It's just not something we do.
And in a small kitchen like this, it's too much space for something that's not that valuable.
And then when it comes to selling homes, we've always sold our homes and it was never a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Never an issue with any of the buyers.
Yeah. In fact, I feel better for helping people wash dishes by hand. Right?
Yeah.
So we know it's totally like personal preference and what some people like or don't like, or, you know, windows versus no windows, dishwasher, no dishwasher. Just from our experience, this works for us and we think it works fine.
Yeah.
For this home. Okay. I'm telling you, installing a window there just wouldn't be worth the trouble it would be to put one in. let me talk about this one now. Why did we do this one? There's no stove, there's no sink. Let's talk about the height here. We did, what did I say, 22? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're about 4 inches over height, and that's because these are 24-inch cabinets. It's all about cabinet height. If I bought 30-inch cabinets, which is standard, they would be too low. And then there wouldn't be enough room here, potentially. Right? Because we'd be below 18 inches from here. So I bought 24-inch cabinets because I wanted them to both end at the ceiling at the same spot. They're at the same height from the ceiling. And I had the choice of 24-inch or 30-inch. The 30-inch are going to be a little too low. These are a little too high. I went with too high. And that just means you have more room to work, which is actually really ideal because on a short cabinet, you're not way back here. So if you're back here and you have a low cabinet, you can still see and work, right? Mm-hmm. But when your cabinet is like this, if you have a lower cabinet, it feels really crowded because you don't have this extra depth.
It's going to be like in your visual way.
So having it up a few more inches worked out perfectly for this setup. And it's only 4 more inches than standard. You're going to have plenty of room to put things here. So I would say the heights are perfect. They're dead on. They're not too high. The layout makes sense. Everything is intentional. And we put a lot of thought into this.
Another thing is the space above the cabinets.
Yeah.
And why we didn't put them all the way up against the ceiling.
Yeah, these doors, I can answer that.
Yeah.
These doors, they're pretty close to the top of the cabinets. If the cabinets were touching the ceiling, the door would be essentially skimming the ceiling and potentially hitting our battens. It would just look silly. So we just bumped them down below the crown molding. I was going to fill that space and close them in. I just never did it.
We may or may not do that.
Yeah. To me, it's not a big deal. I don't care about dust.
I don't either.
It really doesn't bother me if it's open. And if I get motivated, it wouldn't be that hard to close it off either. That's why there's a space up there.
Yep.
Okay. I think that ends the Q&A. We're going to wrap this video up. I know we didn't get a ton done, guys, but we're trying. And at least we made it this far.
Yep. And the next step will be backsplash tiling. That'll be fun.
Yeah, we're going to get to the store and start shopping around, see what we can afford, what we can make happen. But that's all we have for now, so thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.
Bye.